Well, I'm John. Right. Well, I don't know about you, but I had at least 5 cups of coffee, 4 cups of tea, and lots of slices of cake to get over last week. We will jump into what happened last week, John, because I think we're all tired, but it was phenomenal. But just out of courtesy, John, would you mind reminding our audience who you are and the organisation you work for, please, John?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Jimmy. Hi, everyone. And when you mentioned those coffees and cakes, I thought you were going to just say today rather than last week, but that's all good. So thanks again for having us on, Jimmy. I'm John Rogers. I'm one of the sales leaders here at Bottom Line Technologies. We're the headline sponsor of the Appreciation Week, and we're absolutely proud and delighted to be and to get involved and help support a lot of the activity going on. The synergy for us is that Bottom Line help businesses pay and get paid. So this is a great opportunity for us to help some of our mutual customers and new business opportunities. So thank you.
No problem at all. It was our pleasure. And again, so let's look, John. We spent the whole week. We started on Monday and we launched what we call AP Appreciation Wall of Appreciation. And I'm going to share a few photos in a second. And my word, every year it grows a little, and every year we get people to do lots of more and more things. This year it was crazy. Everybody got involved. There was organizations taking over the large reception areas. There was photos galore, people going on picnics. You know what? The only thing I would say, John, I don't know if there was any work done last week in the world of accounts payable. So I'm probably going to get a lot of CFOs phoning me or emailing. But what was absolutely phenomenal was the level of engagement from Monday through Friday. And again, if I look at the launch, you and I jumped on first sort of lunchtime-ish on Monday, and from that point where we sort of went, raised the horn and says, right, go. Everybody started posting, and we had lots of new customers, lots of new members, lots of new people to the industry that came along. And it just, I don't know, this is probably your first week that you've seen the entire week. I don't know. I mean, you wrapped it up earlier when we were talking prior to coming live. It's all about the people. I don't know about you, if you agree, John, but just give us your thoughts about the week itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, and I was thinking about this obviously during the week last week, but also today, and just had one eye on having a chat with you. And I was thinking, what would be the key takeaway from the week? And indeed, I guess the experience with yourselves, and that's just great people, right? Great people, passionate about what they do, passionate for continuous improvement, passionate about sharing, collaborating, helping others, and actually really open to listening to new ideas and new ways of doing things, and certainly and really open to talking to organizations like ourselves. So I think it's been fantastic. As I say, an old mentor of mine once said to me, if you've got great people, you have a great business. So that would be the summary for the APA and the week itself. But we've tons of stuff going on. And you mentioned wasn't much work done. Well, the economy kept going, and when you think about it, it's the oxygen of the economy, accounts payable, because everything begins with an approved invoice. Everything. Now, whether that's a cash application for the buyer or trap liquidity for the supplier, so that begins everything. So it's a great subject. And so in terms of the activity, we had a poll, I think, running in terms of what makes an AP hero. I think it's on LinkedIn, and I think the overwhelming the answer was skillful multitasking. So that gives you some insight into the type of work everyone does. But look, we had tons going on with podcasts, and then we obviously had our subject matter expert and head of corporate pre-sales up at the forum on Wednesday. Feedback there was fantastic, and happy to go through some takeaways in a bit. But some of the things. An interesting note was on the podcast was, people were talking about a few years ago the Great Resignation. There's people now talking about the Great Stagnation because, it's hard to attract people into roles where there's lots of manual processes. But if you've got some automation around that, and you can demonstrate investment in technology and new modern practices, then you can attract quality people into the industry. So lots of good stuff going on. And great panel discussion with Richard as well. But yeah, I think I've probably missed a couple of things out there, but I'm sure you'll let me know if I have.
Hey, listen, you know what? I'm going through the comments. Please excuse me, I'm posting the comments because it just, every time we do this, people really want to comment. And I mean, again, some of the people, and we'll go through some of the individuals that got involved last week. So, but this one was interesting. So what you just said, actually, and Mary picked this up. So the one and only, the AP guru, Mary Schaefer, who joined us last week for a live session on LinkedIn, said that, what you mentioned, AP is the auction of the economy. Hey, you're absolutely right. I was with a customer earlier and I said to them, during, those horrid times when we were all working from home, your business is carried on. And, because you were working in different environments, didn't impact your businesses. Actually, you were the people that were keeping the economy running. And so it's continued. So yes, last week, there's lots of people on here, saying we turned the internet blue and all this malarkey, but what's lovely was everybody celebrated. Everybody did. And it was, as I said, the bit I was shocked about, there's so many new people that were doing it. So whereas historically, we've always had the same people do a lot of getting involved. Yeah. There was so many people that saw the value in actually celebrating. And John, you mentioned obviously the Wednesday session, the live forum. Exceptional. I mean, venue. I mean, if we just go through the list, the venue, absolutely amazing. It was an auditorium. The content was exceptional. Our own Kat Moy designed the panels, run the day, emceed the day. Just phenomenal. All the conversations were amazing. There was 4 panels. We had a guest speaker, Danny Wallace, who just blew us all away. A real powerhouse of an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur who was absolutely amazing. And I won't use the terminology used on the day, but anybody who was there knows exactly what I'm going to do and a sort of the hashtag. But everybody, I won't do it on a live, John. But again, people like Richard was engaging throughout the day. He did his opening address, told us all about bottom line. And actually, because Take That were around. I don't know if you knew, John, but Take That were playing next door at the NIA. So Richard peppered loads of Take That puns in, which absolutely shocked me. He took the hilarity away from any sort of joke I could do, which was really funny. And here's a story for you. So Richard did a great job of telling the audience about all his Take That puns, and everybody's laughing. As we're traveling back, we were at Accountex on the Thursday, myself and my colleague Mike Payable. We stopped at a service station to grab a coffee. As I was going into the service station, not only was there was one of my wife's heroes, we'll say, but a member of Take That was coming out the venue of the.
What a coincidence!
It's absolutely unbelievable. So you got the day before, Richard was making Take That puns. Howard from Take That comes walking out and said, "You know what? I'm not one of those people that get in people's face and ask for photos, but I couldn't resist, so I had to take a photo. I've then since which posted it to our community. Nobody believes it's the real. They all think it's a cardboard cutout, but luckily for me, I had Mike Pavley with me. He was really honourable. And there's my claim to fame. So I saw Howard. My wife's got the photo, but she did tell me off. Apparently, I should have got Gary Barlow, not Howard. But hey, you can't have everything. So let's talk about. The week. Let's talk about the forum, if that's okay,
sure.
John. So your team were there in force. I saw loads of great conversation, not only panels, but just give me some of the highlights. What did your team feel about the forum itself, and what did they learn and get from it as well?
Yeah, so firstly, top venue, really well organized, and again, which is I think is a characteristic common theme with yourselves. Lots of energy, lots of enthusiasm, really positive, really positive atmosphere. I guess the key things the guys came back with that fraud's still a major theme in the industry, particularly now, and I guess leading on from your conversation with Mary. I picked up on that earlier in terms of some of the deep fake stuff that's going on, and the ever increasing sophistication of the email phishing. But then panel discussion was fantastic in terms of the communication and how to collaborate with C-suite in terms of what's important, and the two-way street in terms of what makes that work, and then in terms of, again, set expectations with AP automation projects, set some clear goals and kind of some meaningful objectives. A lot of people are still talking about and worried about and wondering how they solve challenges with fragmented technology systems. Not, we talk about people not talking to each other, but systems not talking to each other, and that creating some error gaps and an increase in manual processes. And some of the guys were feeding back as well is that it's becoming difficult to stick to agreed processes around payment terms and payment processes. Causes a bit of frustration sometimes with other functions in the business. I think interesting one for me is I would talk about the take that pun. I was talking to Richard about that. He did say he weaved in, I think, 6 different take that puns. But so one of the things I do remember is backs for good, and but anyone, I'm sure everyone knows what backs is. But it's interesting that accounts payable are still not, particularly looking for real-time payments yet. They're happy with backs, so backs for good is an apt term. And there's a feeling that real-time has a connotation that it's an exception. It's that has a process exception, so you have to override some of the agreed payment processes. So that's a noteworthy takeaway. But yeah, look, the guys, it's I think we've got when you guys are hosting a forum, it's we put it like this, we have a lot of people volunteering to come and be at it because they know it's an exciting day and they'll get to have great conversations and it'll be an enjoyable experience. So so kudos to yourselves and the team.
Yeah, and thank you for the feedback. And again, you're right, John. I mean, I spoke to your team on the day, and we had 5 sponsors on the day, and they all were amazing. You all complimented each other. You really worked with the audience, both from a consultative approach, thought leadership, and really giving guidance and advice. And I spoke to your team, by the way, and they're already planning their outfits for the conference. So I don't know what's happening. They're looking at venues, hotel accommodation. A lot of your team were at the conference last year, the gala dinner, and they just said they were absolutely blown away. And it was the first time we'd ever done a gala dinner. So yes, the bar's been set, and we're looking forward to that. And
Fantastic.
The other thing that we did on the forum, we announced our influencer community, the APA Key Influencers. It's the first time we've done this as well. So at the forum itself, we did 4 days, 4 panels. We had a keynote speaker in Danny, and then at the back end of the day, we had a formal award ceremony. And the reason we did it this year as opposed to years gone by is that we wanted to really recognize those influencers that make a difference around the world. We literally had people, because we live streamed the awards also in the back end of the day as well. We had hundreds of people watching the channel during the live session. But what was lovely was we had new influencers that joined that community. So they'd been awarded a place on the influencer for the first time. But we had them people from the very early days. And everybody sort of said the same thing. And yes, you're right. I had Mary on a live session earlier in the week. And I asked her before we did the announcement of the influencers for this year, what does it mean to you? And she just said, it means everything. Mary's been in her role as AP now for 19 years this year. And she definitely doesn't look old enough to be running a business for 19 years. But what she said to me was that having part of this community that's been built and having a place on that influencer community is something that she's really proud to do. And as we built that influencer community and we've awarded people as we go on each year, and those people really, really do support the profession, and they create what we would quite rightly say is our roadmap. So it was lovely. The end of the day was exceptional. We've got lots of certificates to be sent out for, unfortunately, all those people that couldn't make the day. So our team will be busy sending emails out, I guess, to all those wonderful people. And the badges, the lapel and the pin badges, we all wear our lapel badges with AP Influencer, Key Influencer with pride. So they'll all be going out. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, John, was that obviously we do lots of things throughout the year, and with support from organizations such as yourself, it's really important that we recognize the support that people like Bottom Line give us, because wherever possible, we try and reinvest. So every time you're investing, to talk to our audience and guide our audience, we try and reinvest that. So our conference this year is going to be slightly bigger, we'll say it's slightly better. We've really hit the benchmark.
Yeah.
But my marketing team, they've given me permission this time, John. I'm always dropping my foot in it. We are now officially launching the awards. So, John, without further ado, I'm going to press a button and something down the bottom goes down here. So if you look at the bottom, because I know that Bottom Line are going to join us at the conference again this year, apassociation.com/conference-awards. Last year, we had in excess of 350 nominations across 12 categories. We've added another category, I think, this year, maybe 2. And as always, I'm always throwing those spanners in the work and adding things that I shouldn't be. So that's CEO's permission, I guess. But please, let's try and get as many of these nominations put forward. And there's no time like the present. Please don't leave it to the last minute. It's the 15th of October, the conference, which I'll share the screen in a second. And apparently it's 147 days. That's what the screen is telling me. We've got a ticker. We're counting down to the conference. So, but it's never a better time to know. We've just come off an amazing week. Really celebrated the profession. Everybody's got engaged around the world. But let's get yourself forward for these conference awards. This is another way that you can be recognized in the industry and the profession. And I always say this, I have to say this, but it's not necessarily all about winning. It's about the taking part. It's about the nomination process. It's about being a finalist. And it's also being recognized and supporting everybody else. So there's individual awards on there, there's team awards, there's project awards, and there's also solution partner awards. So it'd be lovely for our wonderful members and our customers to recognize people like yourselves, John. Anybody that's gone above and beyond to support their customers. So, John, thoughts on the awards? I'm going to bring up a screen in a second. So what's your thoughts on the awards?
So I think I was part of the handing out some of the awards at last year's forum and conference, and it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And I recall it was a bit terrifying in the morning because I had to give the opening address for Bottom Line, which was it was much better afterwards, let's just say. But look, I think the experience last year is that people's excitement and enthusiasm to be not just nominated, but the people who won the awards was just amazing. And just to recognize, people going above and beyond on the front line who probably otherwise wouldn't be elevated or recognized in terms of their contribution or with their peers in the industry. So I think it's fantastic. It's a great idea also to recognize solution providers. That's fantastic. But I think it really just all the ecosystem that creates is fantastic. And so yeah, really looking forward to it.
Perfect, thank you, John. Well, I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this comes up on the screen. So if you follow the link below, apassociation.com/conference-awards, a bit of a mouthful, you will land on a page like this. So it's live as we speak. So let's see who's the first one to get the award in. Maybe I'll track it. There's a prize for the first person to put the first award in. So there's a little bit on here. What are the awards? There's the nominate section there, and here's the categories. So similar to last year, we have the team of the year, which is always very hotly contested. We have manager of the year, digital transformation award, significant team achievement, outstanding contribution, rising star, the APA leadership award, overcoming adversity, employee engagements award, the well-being for others, the APA Key Person of Influence Award, and then Solution Partner of the Year. And when you go through each one, there's a little bit of an explanation of what you do. And then by nominating, I'm hoping this comes up. There we go. It comes up a bit glitzy and glamour, and then you enter in, and then you start the process of. It gives you a bit of it's sort of you put your details in, and what you'll do is as you go through, you put all the full details about yourself, your organization, and then you select where you want to nominate with one of the categories. So again, we're hoping that we can beat last year's target of, I'll stop sharing that screen now, last year's target of over 350 nominations. Wow. And it's open. So, again, there's no excuse. I was at a customer's this morning and met a new member of ours who asked, first thing they asked was, how do we get involved this year? What can we get involved in this year? And I said, look, the greatest way to do that is celebrate success and celebrate achievements from individuals, teams, and organizations. So please get involved in those awards. So hopefully we've done enough there, John, in terms of, there you go, the the alarm's gone. I'll just turn that off there. You've got the chance now to go into the awards. So wrapping up from this year going forward, John, overridingly, I think it's a super success. Every day we had lots of things on. Friday, Kat wrapped up the week with a great webinar where she sort of talked about unlocking the success in accounts payable leadership. Loads of people on there giving their advice and guidance, which is exactly what our audience is all about. The most important part for us, and again, I'll just share a quick banner, is if you jump on, if you do put that hashtag in any of your social media posts, if you go onto LinkedIn, you pop that hashtag in, you will just see the hundreds and hundreds of posts, which is from our solution partners, our members, our community. So by using that hashtag, it's not too late as well. You can always post one in. We always record them for next year. So if you've not done it, you forgot, you've been on holiday, I don't know, you missed a week, but actually pop yourself in, get that hashtag on. And then ultimately, if you then want to go and look at what's on there, we've got this thing called the AP Appreciation Wall. If you look at that, apassociation.com/AP week, you'll be able to go onto the actual webpage and look at the hundreds of posts and lots of celebration. And it falls to me, John, just to give a quick few words of thank you. Thank you to yourselves for being headline sponsor for the week. Your team were amazing. And I've got to say this is something that you didn't know I was going to say. Chris and the marketing team, your brownies were phenomenal. All of our team, we had, for anybody who's watching this, you don't get a waistline like mine if you eat healthily. And the actual brownies that Chris and the team from Bottom Line sent out to the APA team, who were hard workers and working behind the scenes to make sure the events went really well, to all of the senior leadership team with the APA, we really appreciated those brownies. So thank you, John, and thank you, Chris,
no
for those.
I spent all week baking those, Jimmy, so I'm glad they went down well.
Listen, if you did, you've got a job at my house because But again, and look, thank you to our community. You really do make it. It's what it's all about. So thank you for our solution partners. Thank you for our community. Thank you to the wonderful APA team. You did amazingly, as always, throughout the week. And it takes a lot out of you. It really does. So, this week, we'd love to say we're going to have a rest. We're not. We're planning for conference now. So it's full on for conference. And again, we'll do it all over again next year. So please look out for next year's events. It's a great way that you can sort of dip your toe into the wonderful world of the AP community. If you're not members of ours already, you can come along and have a look, see what it's all about, see what crazy things we do. But also, you might be able to learn a little bit by solution partners such as John. So before we wrap up, John, any last words from yourself?
Well, I love it. So, as you say, better never stops. So you just got to keep going. And just, special thanks to yourselves and the team behind the scenes making this all happen, and indeed to Bottom Line marketing team and everyone who got involved and everyone who tagged and contributed to the week. Absolutely fantastic. Hope you got a lot out of it. We're absolutely delighted to be part of it and sponsor it, and we're looking forward to the conference in 157 days, I think it is. So
it is. It's something like that. Who knows? And yeah, again, look, you can see that they're watching. Our team are watching here, John. So the bits that I miss, all the bits I'm supposed to write down. So nominations close for the awards on the 31st of July. It's quite important. I miss all the key things. I just get them really excited, and then I forget all the key things. So thank you, Kat. There we go. So everybody now knows, get your nominations in now. It's gone live. So you've got a couple of months to get them in. So please don't leave them to the lastminute.com, which some people do. Get them in. And also you will see that we will start to send emails out shortly. One last thing for me in terms of what happened during the week. Not only did we talk about new membership levels, we talked about the new professional membership, which is very much aimed at individuals. That officially launches next month in June. So we've already got members that have joined. They trust us that much. They give us the money and say, look, you figure it out later. So we've already got members that have joined on the professional level, but you'll see lots more of that from us. And then the other thing that we talked about and we launched live at the forum was the brand new ambassador program, the brand ambassador of the Accounts Payable Association. This is where we really want to give back. So not only do we want the most influential individuals within our profession, but we want people to represent us and proudly wear the APA banners and brand. So that program itself got announced. If you're an influencer, if you're a member, and that's something you might be interested in, please directly message me if you haven't already heard. If you're an influencer, you're more than likely to get an email from our team this week. So John, thank you so much. You should do this for a living. I'm expecting to see you on News Night at some time, John. It's been a real pleasure to work with yourself and your team for last week and this week.
Yeah.
And we're really looking forward to seeing you at the conference as well. Thank you so much, all, and thank you, John.
Pleasure. All the best. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, John.